And it will be recorded if you don't mind.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
We are with 64, 65 participants, so
Okay.
I should start the video.
Should we start with the video?
I think so.
Okay.
For over 100 years, Rotary members have taken action when challenges arise. We know what people can do when they come together and put others before themselves.
The team lead said they will continue the campaign to fight against the coronavirus.
Local Rotary clubs deliver food and supplies to people in need.
Strangers become friends, helping hands multiply, and problems turn into solutions. We are Rotary. We are people of action. Learn more at rotary.org/action.
Rotary nunca ha evitado enfrentarse a los retos más difíciles, porque estamos comprometidos con un mundo mejor y más equitativo. Y este año no será distinto, manteniéndonos alejados de la gente y los lugares que amamos para mantenerlos a salvo. Y a pesar de los retos, tu generosidad ha continuado. Tus donaciones proporcionaron más de $7 millones para financiar proyectos en respuesta al coronavirus en comunidades de todo el mundo. Y gracias a ti, los ciudadanos de Kigali en Ruanda cuentan con su primera biblioteca pública. Mujeres de zonas rurales de Costa Rica ayudan a la economía de sus comunidades mediante el emprendimiento social. Niños en situación de riesgo de Puerto Rico cuentan con una salida artística para sanar sus traumas emocionales. Rotary y sus aliados han reducido en un 99,9% los casos de polio en el mundo. Gracias a ti, la Fundación Rotaria recaudó $408 millones el año pasado, por lo que juntos podemos continuar haciendo el bien en el mundo. Los donantes que toman acción ayudan a crear un cambio duradero. Nuestra labor no sería posible sin ti. Rotary nunca ha evitado.
Les agradeceremos que en la parte inferior de sus pantallas de Zoom, donde observen el globo con la marca de interpretación, seleccionen el idioma en el cual quieren escuchar las presentaciones.
Vaya por Dios. Te has quedado sin sonido.
Ahora sí.
Ahora sí, ahora
Les
sí te oigo.
agradeceremos. Utilicen la pestaña de interpretación en la parte inferior de sus pantallas para seleccionar el idioma en el cual desean oír las presentaciones.
Hey, Sergio, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo va? Y Mara. Y Ingrid.
Olá, Júlio, encantada de verte. Un abrazo.
Igualmente.
Buenos días, Julio.
Buenos días.
¿Cómo estamos?
Es Julio,
Bien.
es Julio, es
¿Cómo
Julio.
estamos?
Paulo.
Sí.
Julio.
Sí, Julio Sorius.
¿Cómo andiamo? ¿Viene?
Paco Clavijo, buenos días.
Buenos
Good
días.
morning.
Buenos
No
días.
digas.
Good morning.
Hasta Paco.
Doctor, buenos días, doctor.
Buen día, Paco, buen día.
Hombre, Sergio.
Hola.
Buenos
Hola.
días.
Duarte. Teresiña,
Sí,
¿cómo estamos?
tudo bem, también.
Todo bien, todo bien, todo bien. Pero qué guapo estás, Paco.
Sí. Es amigo.
Flavia is one of the translators. She's already online. Hello, Flavia.
Yes. Oh, yes.
This is
Everybody,
right.
we have a couple more minutes before we start. Esperamos
Really?
2 o 3 minutos antes de empezar.
Empezar.
Recuerdo a todos los participantes de buscar la señal de interpretación en sus pantallas, en la parte de abajo de sus pantallas de Zoom, donde dice interpretación, y seleccionar uno de los idiomas en los cuales quieren escuchar las presentaciones. Debido a que la mayoría de las presentaciones se van a hacer en inglés. Por tanto, todos los participantes, por favor, seleccionen donde figura el globo de la pantalla de Zoom que dice interpretación. Al apretar ahí, saldrá una pestaña con los idiomas en los cuales se puede escuchar las presentaciones. Portugués, español o en inglés, evidentemente. Flavia, is the translation ready?
I can hear you. Yeah.
It's 10:02. Let's wait one more minute before we start.
Sergio, can I just make a remark?
Yes.
I got a WhatsApp saying esta reunión ha alcanzado su capacidad máxima de Joan Gallardo, que no puede entrar.
Gianlucas, she's saying that that people cannot join because there's no capacity in the system. Gianlucas?
Yes.
There's people that cannot join because there's no more capacity in the system.
Well, I have 122 participants and is room for 500.
Okay.
In the webinar.
Yeah. But they're getting a message. They're getting a message that they cannot join. I don't know. Okay, I think we have to start, right?
I make it live on YouTube. No, I should say start, please, Sergio.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are recording the meeting, Gianlucas?
Yes.
Okay. Buenos días a todos los participantes. Buenos días. Good morning to all, and thank you for participating in this session we're having today concerning the Rotary Foundation. Les recuerdo a todos los participantes de usar la característica de interpretación que está en la parte inferior de sus pantallas, seleccionando el idioma en el cual quieren oír todas las presentaciones, dado que la mayoría se van a hacer en inglés. I would like now to open up, saying a very big welcome to all the participants, and very especially to President Chairman Ravi of the Rotary Foundation. Good morning, Ravi.
Morning.
We have also Director Gianlucas Quet. Good morning, Gianlucas.
Good morning.
Per Hoyen, Trustee from the Rotary Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning, all.
I would like to extend the welcome to Mara Duarte, Assistant Coordinator, Regional Coordinator for the Foundation, who is helping me out in the moderation of the session. Good morning, Mara.
Good morning.
And also we have with us past trustee and past director Julio Sorjus. Good morning, Julio.
Good morning to everyone.
And we have past director Eduardo San Martin. Good morning, Eduardo.
Good morning.
Next, I would like to invite the special guests of this session, who are the district governors and the chairs of the Rotary Foundation for the districts, to make a very brief introduction of themselves. We start with Roberto Carvalho, District 1960. Roberto.
Bom dia, Roberto Carvalho, governador do Distrito de 1960. Sou do Rotary Clube Cascais Estoril, rotário há praticamente 20 anos, e desejo então uma boa sessão de trabalho a todos. Muito obrigado.
Sergio Almeida.
Bom dia a todos. O meu nome é Sérgio Almeida, sou governador do Distrito 1970, pertenço ao Rotary Clube de Arouca e é um gosto enorme estar aqui hoje nesta sessão. Good morning, Ravindran, e good morning, everybody. Buenos dias a todos e hasta pronto. Obrigado, Sérgio. Um abraço.
Obrigado. Marisol Carrillo.
Buenos días a todos. Encantada de estar hoy aquí con vosotros. Soy la gobernadora del Distrito 2201 de España y soy del Rotary Club de Burgos. Estoy encantada de escucharles a todos vosotros y de aprender un poquito más, que creo que es lo importante, siempre estar en acción. Así que muchísimas gracias por esta sesión que vamos a tener hoy. Muchísimas gracias a todos.
Thank you, Marisol. Paco Clavijo.
Buenos días a todos. Buenos días a todos. En primer lugar, daros las gracias por esta sesión. Es para mí un orgullo poder participar en ella. Mi nombre es Paco Clavijo, mi clasificación es Energías Renovables, pertenezco a Rotary Club de Logroño en La Rioja y desempeño durante el año 2021 la responsabilidad de gobernador de distrito. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Paco. Ricardo Molina.
Buenos días. Good morning, Ravin. Soy Ricardo Molina, gobernador del Distrito 2203, las Islas Baleares, la Comunidad Valenciana, la región de Murcia, Andalucía, Ceuta y Melilla, donde 88 clubes estamos encantados de participar con 1.850 rotarios para seguir apoyando la Fundación. Un placer compartir este tiempo y gracias, Ravindran, por compartirlo con nosotros.
Muchas gracias, Ricardo. Pasamos a los chairs distritales de la Fundación Rotaria. Enrique Almeida.
Enrique Almeida, do Rotary Clube Cascais Estoril, Distrito 1960, Portugal. Estou encantado de participar de uma enorme reunião sobre a Rotary Foundation.
Teresinha Gómez. Teresinha. I know she's there.
Bom dia a todos. É uma honra para mim estar aqui neste webinar com todos estes séniores, Rotary Seniors Leaders. Sou Teresinha e do Rotary Clube da Senhora da Hora, do Distrito 1970.
Gracias, Teresinha.
Obrigada.
Ventura Acuña. Ventura. Ingrid Steinhoff.
Buenos días. Good morning. My name is Ingrid Steinhoff. I'm from the Rotary Club of Barcelona, District 2202. Since 11 years in Rotary, and I'm the chair of the Foundation District Committee and District Nominee.
Ventura Acuña.
Sí, hola. Buenos días. Sí, buenos días. Soy Ventura Acuña, miembro del Rotary Club de Lanzarote. En este año, presidente del Comité de la Fundación Rotaria del Distrito 2201 en España. Es un placer participar en esta conferencia regional en la que estamos presentes los distritos de España y Portugal. Y por otro lado, es un lujo poder contar con la participación de los altos cargos de nuestra institución que hoy nos acompañan. Tendremos la oportunidad de conocer de primera mano los últimos cambios habidos y la situación actual de nuestra Fundación Rotaria, que seguro servirán para conocer más y mejor a nuestra fundación.
Muchas gracias, Ventura. Thank you,
Gracias.
Ventura. A continuación, unas palabras también de los demás coordinadores regionales. Luis Miguel Duarte.
Bom dia, buenos dias, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today to attend this meeting about our Rotary Foundation. Penso que todos vamos ficar mais motivados para conseguir ajudar a nossa fundação para fazer o bem do mundo. Uma boa opinião a todos.
Thank you, Luis Miguel. Luis Santos.
¿Qué hay? Buenos días, encantado de estar aquí con todos vosotros. Soy Luis Santos, actualmente presidente del Rotary Club de Javea y en estos momentos coordinador en PolioNow de la región 23. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Luis. Miguel Ángel Taus.
Buenos días, good morning. Subau de Sanac. My name is Miguel Taus. I'm a member of the Rotary Club Madrid Serrano, District 2201, Spain. I am the actual Rotary coordinator.
Thank you, Miguel Ángel. So just with the remind me, Ravi, you want to say something? I observed you raise your hand.
No, thank you. No.
Sorry. So please remember also the instructions we have provided before, in the sense that we already have some questions that have been sent to us by email and by WhatsApp, which we'll be referring to later in the when we go to the questions and answers section of this presentation. But if anyone would like to make questions. Yes.
All difficult questions to be given to Jan and Per, the easy ones to be.
Dime.
Okay. We take note of that. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Ravi. So,
Sergio, I didn't introduce myself.
Oh, sorry, Ana. I'm sorry. Yes, Ana Martin.
No problem.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. I'm Ana Martin, District Rotary Foundation Chairman for District 2203. I feel like I'm in Rotary since a lot of time, but I'm only 5 years with Rotary, and I'm very pleased to be here setting this video meeting with all of you. Thank you to directors and important people from Rotary. Thank you, Ravindran, for giving us the opportunity to be here. Thank you, Jan Lucas, Mr. Hoyen, and of course, Sergio Aragón for coordinating all this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana. Please excuse me. You know how much we appreciate you. I'm sorry that I left you at the very end without asking you to speak. So I was saying that please use the chat feature or the questions and answers feature, which is below in your screens, in order to make any question that we both Mara and myself will later on retrieve in order to present them to the panelists. Also, of course, after those questions and answers, if we have time, also the panelists can just raise their hands and act directly if they have something to clarification or any additional question they would like to pose. So that's it. I would like to pass the word now to our director, Jan Lucas, for his introduction.
And I have my text here. Bom dia, buenos dias, queridos amigos. Good morning to you all from Holland. It's 7 degrees now, and the tulips show themselves rather hesitantly. Foundation Coordinator Sergio Aragón organizes this seminar together with Assistant Mara Duarte, and I welcome also Trustee Chair Ravindran and Per Hoyen, and all of you, of course. It is important to be informed about our greatest Rotary asset, our foundation. And it is important to explain its success and to clarify ambiguities. And that is the purpose of this webinar. For this moment, I would only remind you to the mission of our foundation, because it's not only a fund or a bank, it is our tool to connect worldwide, to togetherness, and to enable us to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, the support of quality education, the improvement of the environment, and the alleviation of poverty. Enjoy this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Gianlucas. Right now, we have a presentation by Trustee Per Hoyen, who is going to talk us about the situation of the Rotary Foundation in Europe. I'm going to share the screen in order to pass the slides.
So here we go. Good morning, all. I'm happy to be with you this beautiful Saturday morning. Can I please have the next one? I'm happy to be with you today to give you all a brief overview about our foundation. During the last year, we have been challenged, but it is encouraging to see how Rotarians are finding ways to adapt and continue to serve. Next slide, please. Last year was a record-setting year for the Rotary Foundation. For the first time ever, over $300 million was granted in programs awards. Next slide, please. A breakdown of all programs is included in this chart. By size, we granted the most for polio eradication, followed by global grants and then district grants. And I just want you to note that these figures are rounded. Next slide, please. As told earlier, last year was a record-setting year for the Rotary Foundation. For the first time ever, more than 300 million was granted into program awards. This slide shows how Europe did 470 global grants out of a total of 1,359 global grants worldwide in 2019-2020. Next slide, please. This chart shows you how the European global grants is divided into our areas of focus. Next slide, please. In Rotary year 20, there were 15 global grants in Portugal and Spain for $905,000 in funding. All but one of these grants were in disease prevention and treatment. The other was water and sanitation. These grants funding projects in India, Peru, Spain, and Senegal. Next slide, please. This slide shows the amount raised by Rotarians in 2019-2020. Out of this, Portuguese and Spanish Rotarians contributed almost 600,000 to our Rotary Foundation. Your generous support is instrumental in helping Rotary deliver on its mission. And how does your support compare to your peers in Europe, Africa, or indeed in the world? Well, let me show you on the next slide. Next slide, please. Here you see the annual fund per capita trends for Europe-Africa zones. You will note that every zone in our region is below the global per capita average of $103.60. The annual fund is the engine that powers Rotarians' imagination and service to humanity. And I so much would encourage every one of you to reflect on how you and your clubs can grow your annual fund giving in the years to come. Can I have the next slide, please? Every dollar, euro, or yen you contribute makes a difference. Identify those clubs who have not given and encourage them to join Rotary's ambassadors. Next slide, please. The Rotary Foundation provides grants that support a wide range of humanitarian projects, scholarships, and training that Rotarians do around the world, and I encourage you to get involved. It is only through your program involvement or financial support that you will experience the many benefits of our Rotary Foundation. Next slide, please. I wish you all the best in your upcoming year and are open to any questions you may have. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre, for your presentation. And as mentioned, we can have the chance later to hear questions from the participants and from the panelists at the section that is provided for that. And now it is my pleasure to give the word to Ravi Ravindran, who was also my International Rotary President when I was District Governor in District 2202 in 2015-16. It is a real pleasure, and Ravi is our keynote speaker today as chair of the Rotary Foundation. So please, Ravi, we're eager to hear your words and comments. Thank you.
My dear friends, very especially Sergio, he was a great governor when I was president. Director Jan Lucas, who's doing a wonderful job on the board as I watch him observing all the comments that he makes. Trustee Pierre Hoyen, my friend and colleague on the board, thank you for that presentation on Rotary and what you're doing in Europe. And I was very, very pleased to see on the screen my old friends Julio Sohus and Eduardo San Martin Carreno. I hope both the Carmens are doing very well. Lovely to see you. Eduardo, your hair's got whiter than I last saw it. What dye are you using? Tell me later. When I assumed the role of chair of the Rotary Foundation last year, few, if any, could have predicted as to how 2020 would turn out to be. The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken the landscape of the world and presented communities with a challenge for which there is arguably no parallel. 135 million people have been infected and nearly 3 million people have died. The IMF says that global output is on track to fall 5% this year. That means the equivalent of nearly 400 million jobs have been lost. I was listening to two Qantas Airlines A380 captains, you know, the big A380, who have just parked their plane in the Mojave Desert in California. That's a place where you go and park all these planes. Maybe you pick it up later. And now they're driving buses in Sydney. So the interviewer in BBC asked, so is it more difficult to drive a bus in Sydney or to pilot the big A380 aircraft? And they say, you know, the A380, once it takes off until it lands, it's all autopilot. So we can even watch a movie, no problems. But in Sydney, the buses, every second we have to be concentrating on the road. But that's what life is. The World Bank says 100 million people will be pushed into extreme poverty. Extreme poverty means earning less than $1.90 per day. The World Food Programme predicts a wave of hunger and starvation. even famine. UNICEF calculates that 872 million students in 51 countries will be unable to go to school at this point. During this period, we have seen the best and the worst of the world. We have seen compassion and sacrifice and friendship on the one hand, and we have seen shameless profiteering and blatant selfishness on the other hand. We know that today rich nations representing just 14% of the world's population have bought up 53% of the vaccines, and because of that, it is anticipated it will probably take 7 years for the world to be vaccinated. And until the whole world is vaccinated, nobody is safe. So if you think COVID is going away next year, I beg to differ. But the good news, of course, is that the vaccines out in the world look very promising. Of course, notwithstanding that AstraZeneca product has been receiving some negative reports. I just had an AstraZeneca shot. I was okay. And hopefully 2021 will see the beginning of the end of this pandemic. But you must know that throughout history, plagues and diseases have ravaged humanity, changing the course of history and sometimes even signaling the end of entire empires. But if you look closely at the change brought about by these plagues, they are not always the worst. Sometimes good things happen. Historians may point out that the Periclean Athens was so severely weakened by a plague that it lost to Sparta in the Peloponnesian War in 430 BC. But it was that defeat that enabled the Athenian move to a radical democracy in which the world saw power evolve to the vote of the ordinary citizen, democracy as we know it now. Historians may point out that the 14th century pandemic killed at least a third of Europe's population, but it also contributed to the end of feudalism. The world has recovered quickly, and in 1919, after the Spanish flu, and mind you, it's called the Spanish flu, although it has nothing to do with Spain, it's just that Spain was able to talk about it to the rest of the world. The rest of the planet was
Okay.
A need for a service-oriented entity was necessitated, and Rotary was the answer to that call, spreading rapidly around the world. The first club in Asia, the Shanghai Club, was chartered in 1919. It was followed by Manila in the Philippines, Calcutta in India, and then Tokyo in 1920. Africa established its first club in Johannesburg in 1921, and they're just having their centennial in 2 weeks' time, next week actually. Rotary actually grew by 26% after the 1919 pandemic. However, history is a good chronology of the past. It can never predict the future. Equally, it's not all bad news. For this year, we have had our moments to celebrate in Africa when the continent was declared wild polio free. We applauded the health workers, mainly women. They traveled by car, by rail, by boat, by foot, in fact, by any means, to reach children from Abuja to Maiduguri, from Ethiopia to Cote d'Ivoire, from the Democratic Republic of Congo to Ghana, all with the polio vaccines to vaccinate children. We applauded them for building a vast surveillance and laboratory network, now being extensively used to counter COVID-19. We applaud them for their energy, for their enthusiasm, for their excitement they showed. But of course, please remember, we still have Afghanistan and Pakistan to finish. And we do understand that children in over 40 countries have continued to be immunized in routine fashion until the last of that virus is eliminated. Plus, of course, we need to continue carefully, unabated, our surveillance activities in over 70 countries to be sure that the virus is still not alive and, lurking around somewhere. Thus, there is no relief, I'm afraid to tell you, to our fundraising. We need to make our goal of $50 million per year that will be matched 2-to-1 by the Gates Foundation up to 2023, 2 more years to go. Meanwhile, we met the challenges posed by the pandemic head-on. The board used to meet monthly, virtually, of course, never physically, and instead of once in 3 months, we gave out nearly $30 million, and we gave it out widely and impactfully to enable thousands of clubs around the world to reach out to people in need during this COVID. We were able to negotiate with USAID and form a partnership where they gave us $5 million to provide assistance to Italian communities impacted by COVID-19. But what next? They would ask me what I'm going to do. It's all this is history. The challenges before us as we face a post-COVID world is to expand and commit some of the learnings that emerged in this past year. We must stay focused to better adjust ourselves to today's radically changed environment. My friends, the world has changed, make no mistakes. We are working and succeeding in reducing our repetitive fixed administrative costs, and at the same time, we are getting sharper and leaner while protecting and safeguarding our brand. We have worked very hard to reduce our costs. We are working to readjust our services and our image to the changing public sentiment. A case in point was making environment our 7th area of focus, because the younger generation places greater emphasis on purpose, passion, and meaning. We found alternative ways of stretching our World Fund, which was getting very quickly depleted. I mean, that's a measure of our success. We are not running short of money, but we are demanding more and more and more. It's like a company which is having too much business and not enough capital. So remember, the World Fund is what finances all the projects around the world. We launched our first programs of scale project. Now, what is that? We were looking for one project which is big, very big. So we put up $2 million US, and it was matched by equal amount from Gates with another 2 million, and World Vision, which gave another 2 million, and we now have $6 million in a project to reduce malaria in Zambia. And we think we can reduce this malaria by 90%. Imagine how many lives we will save. How many lives of little children, how many lives of pregnant mothers will be saved because malaria will be taken out. We have made the strategic division that we will play a significant role in the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, especially in the areas which might perpetuate insufficiency, inefficiency, and ignorance. In fact, I was working in a vaccination center myself last week, and I was so pleased and happy to see our Rotarians in the way they were handling these vaccines. Mind you, we said we won't pay money for vaccines. We won't get involved with the purchase of vaccines. And I can tell you, hot off the press, what's just happening. Just last month, we signed an agreement to open a new peace center in the Middle East, and a generous American donor has put up $15.5 million to fund the cost of establishment and its operations. Now, this is a major coup for Rotary, because the Middle East is still the world's most trouble-prone region. And can you imagine the positive image, the positive mileage Rotary will get out of this? Our goal this year is to raise $410 million as against 400 million last year. I wondered how, if I get up to 10% of less than that, I would be still happy. I would be very happy. Let's see how we end up. I must tell you, we are still on track. We are still confident we'll make that 410. And if we did, it will truly be a miracle. It will truly be an example of what Rotarians can achieve even in a challenging time. Yes, the pandemic has created an environment that facilitated the need for an organization like Rotary. It needed Rotary at this point. Equally, the pandemic has created a situation that will leave governments constrained from spending money on social services in the way they will need to do because of the high levels of unemployment I spoke about, because of the high levels of homelessness, because of the high levels of poverty that it has created. Thus, Rotary will thrive, my friends, in my view. It will thrive because in dozens of countries, we will become the answer to the prayers of people, of community members. The prayer of the desperate parent whose child is seriously autistic or otherwise disabled, until Rotary builds an institution which gives that precious child a fresh lease at life. Of the ailing villagers, the prayer of the ailing villagers, many of whose kidneys are affected because of groundwater contaminated by overuse of fertilizers, and now have purified potable water through a reverse osmosis plant. The prayer of the little girls who had to leave school at 12 or 13 only because their school had no toilets, no private place to wash, and then find one day that the school has a new toilet block built by Rotary. And the prayer of the hundreds who are dying of cervical cancer, or the thousands who are being afflicted with malaria, till Rotary came along to arrest this condition. For all these people, countless hundreds, countless thousands, they may never know us. They may never know who you are, who I am. For that matter, they may never even know of Rotary. But they do know that when they prayed to God, their prayers was answered and their lives have found renewed hope. We must understand that none of us here are more than a little speck in the vastness of space. Our time on this earth is limited. The day we were born, there was also a day marked when we must leave. And we can feel so insignificant and say, what can a single man do or single woman do? But as any physicist will tell you, even a small single speck has the power to change the world if it moves in the right way, in the right time, at the right place. Rotarians can make things happen because of their boundless imagination, because of their fierce ambition, and because of their uncompromising dedication, even in this dark and gloomy year. But then remember, the night is darkest just before dawn breaks. So let's have hope that this too shall pass. You see, nature is immensely complex. It is impossible to tell whether anything that happens is good or bad, because you never know what the consequences that follow will be. All we can know is that with every action and reaction, there is an opportunity, a chance to live our values, a chance to express our desires, a chance to take action to improve the quality of our lives. Because nothing is written. We are the authors of what we write. It's up to us to take all that is great about Rotary and the Rotary Foundation, use it to build a better world, for this is our great moment of opportunity. You know, I was reading a recent book which speaks about the film Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know whether you saw, any of you saw this. In the movie, the role of Lawrence is played by that famous actor Peter O'Toole. And he has convinced a group of Arab tribes to mount a surprise attack on the Ottoman Empire, from whom they seek independence. Lawrence leads a band of Bedouin warriors across the desert, approaching the Ottoman port of Aqaba from the rear. They cross the desert in the blistering heat, braving the swirling sandstorms. At one point, they discover that one of the Arab soldiers, Qasim, has fallen off his camel. Lawrence instantly decides that he must turn back and go and find this man. Sharif Ali, the chief Arab leader played in the movie by Omar Sharif, objects. One of his aides tells Lawrence, Qasim's time has come, it is written. And Lawrence says, nothing is written. Then he turns around and he goes back. He searches in the sand, in the desert, in the dunes, and he finds this fellow Qasim staggering about half dead. Lawrence brings back Qasim to camp, to a hero's welcome. And when Sharif Ali offers him a glass of water, Lawrence looks at him before quenching his thirst and calmly repeats, nothing is written. In Lawrence of Arabia, the lesson about fate versus human agency gets a little more complicated. The night before the attack on Aqaba, the Arab tribes start quarreling bitterly over the murder committed of one of their tribesmen against a member of another tribe. As an outsider, Lawrence offers to execute the murderer so that justice could be done by an impartial hand, only to realize that the murderer is Qasim, the very man whose life he had saved in the desert. Yet he walks up calmly and pumps 6 bullets straight into him. The lesson perhaps is that Qasim was determined to die, destined to die. Lawrence had been able to serve him in the desert, and in doing so, he gave him life again. But by his actions, Qasim threw it away, threw the chance for a different future. So too in our friends, my friends, we face circumstances which are similar. The ugly pandemic has created the possibility for change and reform. It has opened up a path to a new world. It's ours to take that opportunity or squander it. Nothing is written. So let me leave you on that note, asking you to be safe and continue to have hope for yourself, for Rotary, for the Rotary Foundation, and the communities you will serve, remembering nothing is written. We will write the future of Rotary and the Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Ravi. Thank you very much. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your words. As was planned, we turn now to the section on questions and answers. And I remember all participants to use the chat or the questions and answers feature in your web screen, in your Zoom screen. We already have some questions there. So, and also some that we have received previously. So I will start. I will start with the questions that I have. Also, Mara is going to help me with the questions and comments that come from the Portuguese side. I will handle the ones from the Spanish side. And the first one I have is from a participant from the Club of Bilbao that says, due to the present situation of limited resources of the Rotary Foundation, which curtailed the funds for global grants, first eliminating the 50% support to finances and later reducing from 100% to 80% the support to the district's finances for these projects. The question arises if under the present very special circumstances, Rotary still continues to be interested in promoting the further expansion of the total number of projects and grants.
So what is the question?
The question is, to summarize it, that if I understand it correctly, that given the curtailment of the resources that have been made recently, the changes to the finances, whether Rotary is still still interested in promoting global grants and projects.
Yeah, I mean, understand the reason why we curtailed it is because the grants have just gone through the roof. If there was a shortfall of projects, then we don't have to do this at all. I mean, the reason why we did it is because there is so much of demands for the grants, but not enough money to give it out. And we get our money from our annual, from the annual giving. Let me give you an example. In the Global Grant Program was started in 2014. That year, the foundation awarded 868 global grants worth $47.3 million. In 2019-20, the number of global grants awarded had risen to 1,359. In other words, from 868 to 1,359, worth $95.6 million. From 47.3, it went to 95.6. In the first 6 months of this year, we sanctioned 1,197 global grants for $87.5 million. Now compare that with what we did last year, which we thought was very good. Last year, same time, we did 634 grants for $46.4 million. So you can conclude that on the one hand, we've done a tremendous job in marketing our grants, and on the other hand, equally great job in giving out the money quickly to people all over the world. But the consequences of all this, as we are beginning to become a victim of our own success. You can see that whilst global grants funding increased by more than 100% from 2014 to 2019, corresponding annual fund contributions never kept pace, increasing only 9% during this period. And because the demand for global grants is far exceeding and outpacing the growth in annual fund contributions, we find ourselves in a position where we cannot fund all the grant requests we receive. Did this worry us? Yes, of course it did. So we decided to deal with the problem rather than just taking the easy way out, which is sitting back and saying, okay, we'll hand out grants as long as funds last. When the money is over, well, bad luck. So the first thing was to see how we can stretch the funds a little bit more. That is, we have limited funds because, of course, Rotarians are giving money, but it's not as fast as the request for the demand for money. So through numerous cost savings, which I won't elaborate now, we actually found an additional $4.4 million. I told you we were cutting costs, we were trying to save money all over the place. Then we transferred $7.5 million to the World Fund from our operating reserves. And then, thanks to Holger and Jan Lucas's influence, they transferred $7.5 million, which was the anticipated savings they hope to make this year on their budgeted expenditure, and they transferred that money to us. Thus, as a one-off effort in total, an additional $20 million was being made available this year. But unfortunately, even that is not enough to fulfill the rush of applications that are coming in. Therefore, we can expect a financial shortfall this year, and it is likely it'll get worse in the coming years because Rotarians will start sending in application earlier and earlier. In fact, next year, we expect the shortfall to be about $17.6 million when you see the number of projects that are coming in. So, if I may draw a simile, we are in a situation where, let us say, for example, that you have 4 children. We have enough on the table for 2 of them. We can tell you, okay, kids, boys, girls, now rush to the table, get whatever you can, whoever eats first gets the food. Or we can tell them, we can ration the food and make sure all 4 of them gets enough food to eat. So we decided to take steps to diminish this problem in a manner that is fair to all, of funding our global grants until Rotarians are able to pull in more contribution via our annual funds. So my request to you is, sure, we'll give out more and more money, but we're asking you to be a little more generous than you already are. I know you're generous, but you need to find more and more money to do this.
Thank you, Ravi. By the way, we are receiving several comments in the chat section indicating how people are excited and congratulate you on your excellent communication skills. They consider your presentation to be excellent. So congratulations. I'm just passing the word of what people are mentioning in the chat. We are, Mara, as I mentioned before, the assistant coordinator and myself are coordinating this questions and answers feature. So we're switching. There are already many questions posed. We will be switching from the Spanish questions to the Portuguese questions, which Mara will handle the next one in Portuguese in right now, and then we will be switching back and forth. Mara.
Okay, thank you, Sergio. The next one is to our chair, Ravindran, from the District 1960. It is possible that temporarily part of the donations to Polio Plus will return to the district for use in programs to combat the consequences of COVID-19.
No, I'm afraid not. Polio Plus is our priority number one. We have made a promise to the world. We have made a promise to the children. And we must not forget that. That must always be up there in front. Everything else takes second to polio. So polio money cannot be diluted in any manner whatsoever. Jan Lucas, you want to add to that?
No, that's right.
Okay, thank you. The next question I have from the Spanish side is from District 2201, and it also goes to the question of the financing of the changes that have been done recently. And the question is whether or not these changes that have been implemented, do they have a permanent status, or will they be shifted back to how they were before? That means the sharing for the clubs and for the districts 100% and 50% as it was before. This is the question, whether this is a permanent feature, or can we expect a return to the previous system?
You know, this, as I said, this was made in order to stretch our funds to as many programs as possible. So if the funding level increases, of course we can switch back to the old system. In fact, I think that if our endowment, you know, if you recall, our endowment goal is 2025 by 2025. That means $2.025 billion by 2025. At the moment, we are about halfway there. Now, if we get to that, then even at a at $2.025 billion, even at 5% is $100 million. So when we get to that level, the chances are we will have enough money plus the money we raise to fund people more generously, and things might go back or it might even improve. But it's a balance between incoming money and incoming projects. Or if the projects decrease, then you have more money to give. So it's always a balance between these two. I mean, if you give $100, it's like putting money in the bank. If you put $100 in the bank and expect $120, that's not possible. I'm not talking about the overdrafts that you arrange, but otherwise it's not possible. This time we really did take an overdraft by dipping into our reserves, which we can't do all the time. So you want more money out, you got to put more money in.
Thank you, Ravi. Mara?
Okay. For our chair, Ravindran, Rotary has planned to support vaccination for COVID-19. Can you share with us the details of that planning and how can districts help?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Okay. Rotary has planned to support vaccination for COVID-19. Can you share with us the details of this plan?
Yeah, so we agreed upfront that we will not allow or persuade Rotarians to pay any money for vaccines, because we are focused only on polio. Under no circumstances should that vary, our target, our goal vary from that. Now, so if you, that's another reason for this. A lot of this vaccine is, as you know, in a very development stage. It's just come in, it was fast-tracked for use. Already you can see some issues with AstraZeneca. And we don't want to get involved with any lawsuits. We don't want issues of, claims against us for the use of these vaccines. So we don't want to touch vaccines. Now, if you take vaccines out, there are many, many other ways we can help. COVAX is delivering. COVAX is the one where 80 or 90 countries have got together. They are raising money. That is CEPI, it's one organization. Gavi is another one which specializes in vaccines. WHO, UNICEF, together are combining to raise money. They are using that money to buy vaccines from wherever available, and they're shipping it out to 92 countries who can't afford to pay for the vaccines. Now, that apart, even in countries like yours, Rotarians can do a lot. Number one, they can arrange with transport. Number two, they can arrange with the vaccination centers. I can tell you what we are doing in my part of the world. I was working in a vaccine center where we look after the people who are coming. You know, you can give them refreshments, etc. And then we took care of the computers. In other words, when a person comes and gives his name, you enter the name, and then of course from the Skype, from your the health ministry banks, your name drops down, and you say, okay, this man age this got such and such a vaccine, or this woman got such and such a vaccine. And then we were taking care of the nursing staff. A lot of the nursing staff are neglected. They don't have enough money to go and eat outside. So Rotarians were taking care of that. We have, in my country, we have actually divided our country into 9 provinces. And we went to, you see, you also have to raise money, right? So we have gone to 9 different companies, big companies, from Unilever to Procter & Gamble, and said, okay, can you take one province? You provide the cash for looking after the health workers, cash for refreshments. If you need transport, the cash for trans, we will give you the manpower. So it was great. Every company wants to help. This is a national emergency. I don't think you should rely only on Rotary Foundation. I think every company around you wants to help because everyone is affected. So these are some of the things that you should be able to do. Plus, you can also deal with the anti-vaxxers, the people who say vaccine is no good. I mean, we are an example of how we use vaccine in polio to bring down the incidence of polio from 100,000 a day to almost nothing. I mean, we've almost beaten wild polio virus around the world, only with vaccines. And still you have people who say vaccines are no good. Of course, you have situations where someone was allergic, someone got sick. But you know, anything you buy from the pharmacy, anything, you look at that box, if you read all the warnings there, you don't want to take it. There are so many warnings there. So the odd mistake can happen. So that's something you can do. Deal with anti-vaxxers, get onto the media, bring support, bring communication support, raise money for your communications.
Thank you, Ravi. The next question I have from District 2202, which partially you have already answered. So I will turn to the question, which is because it's referring also to the vaccination. So, but the question that is not referring to vaccination means if under the present circumstances, the Rotary Foundation will adapt other social emergency projects different than the ones that they were handling until now.
No, Rotary will not change its position at all. If you have a emergency in your community and you make an application for a global grant, we will support you. There is no reason for us to change anything that we are doing. At a global level, polio is our only corporate project. And right now, because of this pandemic, which is affecting the whole world, affecting the whole planet, we are persuading you to do whatever you can to play a role, because we know that every single community is affected badly.
Thank you. Mara?
Okay. From the District 1960, next year, global grants for the environment area will start. You can share the eligibility criteria for these projects, please.
You know, it's not as though we were not doing environment projects. We were already doing. I mean, I think last year something like $18 million was given for from beekeeping in Germany to water conservation in Jordan. So it's not anything new, but we are hoping that environment is something which attracts the younger people, and the younger people are very, very interested in it. And we went on the basis that there were lots of people who said, why do you need another area of focus? And we went on the basis that environment is so critical that if you don't look after the planet, all the other areas of focus will cease to exist, because this is the most important thing. And of course, like a lot of the world, we were also enthusiastic. We were, shall I say, excited by young Greta Thunberg, where she spoke and what she did. So environment is nothing new, but we are hoping by creating area of focus, we can actually, we might have big, we are hoping that other people with big funding will join us to do projects. And, you know, if you look at renewable energy, Europe is already, I think, 50% renewable energy more than fossil fuels. I mean, I know my company, one of my factories is now completely on renewable energy, and I've given myself 4 years when we will completely shift to renewable energy. So I think environment, I mean, if I can lay down the type of projects you can do, but you know about it already. It's related to water, it's related to energy, it's related to anything at all which improves our planet. And I expect that to be a big success.
Thank you, President Ravi. I have a question here from District 2202, which says that every time more often, clubs prefer to give directly the money they collect to institutions or charities that attend the community, but they do not go through the Rotary Foundation. And the person asking this question says that she believes that this goes against the policy of the foundation. How can Rotarians manage the situation? The argument of a global world benefit is not enough.
Now, that's a, you know, it's a question of visibility. When someone gives money, let's say to Red Cross, and if they believe Red Cross is doing a better job than Rotary Foundation, then I have no arguments. But they have to understand that one of the greatest advantages of giving money to the Rotary Foundation is because the resources come free, unlike any other charity. When you give money to any other charity, they have to hire people to do their job. When you give money to the Rotary Foundation, we have all these people on the screen who are working free of charge. If you want to hire these people, you know how much it's going to cost. So the greatest advantage of giving money to Rotary Foundation is the return on your investment. If you give $100 to Rotary Foundation, the $100 reaches the community you want it to go to. If you give $100 to any other foundation, any other charity, the chances are the full $100 does not reach them, because they also need operating funds. So I would say that one of the greatest advantage of Rotary Foundation is our ability to leverage your funds for with other resources to reach out to larger amounts. The second thing is that with Rotary Foundation, you can take on a very large project which you can't do with an individual charity. I mean, let's take, for example, polio. Do you think that could have been achieved by giving money to a simple charity? It's impossible. And so what happens is that when we can do lots of little projects all over, but finally we make an impact with these large projects, which can only be done with an organization like the Foundation.
Thank you. Mara?
The change to the Rotary Foundation fundings model that begin in July are temporary or permanent, in particular in the funding for the annual programs.
I believe I already answered that. It depends on the money that you are raising. If you raise enough money, then it goes back to the old custom. If you don't, I mean, if the projects far exceed the money, then we have a choice of saying, we'll give you whatever the money we have, then rest of the project just turn it down and say, sorry, no funds. So it's a choice that you have. By doing what we did, we are stretching it more. More and more people can raise the money, get money for their projects, although it's less, as against staying with the old formula and giving less people or funding less projects.
Thank you. I have two more questions here. One is a club that has a lot of experience in global grants and is saying that they would like to collaborate in promoting how to use the system for doing well all the administration of global grants, because they believe that in their district the clubs are not using this feature enough, and they volunteer to teach others on how to better perform.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sergio. So you better talk to them and fix that. Make them create a seminar, something, get them to talk. That's wonderful. I think you should make full use of that.
Thank you, Mara.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, I have one more. I think this has been answered already, but nevertheless, I will present it. It's the question is what is the first objective or goal of the foundation for this year, 2021?
What should be first objective? We got several objectives. Our main objective, of course, to eradicate polio. That's Rotary's corporate goal. So the rest of it depends on what you're popular with. Jan, you want to answer that, or Per? Where's Per? Per, are you there? Would you like to take that on?
Well, I guess you already have said it. Here from up north in Europe, we're concentrating about polio. So yeah.
So we have several objectives, and it depends on, some prefer environment, some want peace centers. I mean, if you go to the United States, they give half their money for the peace centers. We've just started one in Africa, and I just told you that we are very excited about this one we are starting in the Middle East. It will take maybe 2 years to establish it, but imagine a peace center in the Middle East. I mean, the whole world will be looking at that. So it's a matter of preference, which is what is it that you prefer out of all of our objectives?
If I may add something on that, Ravi, having impact is important. So we should focus on our economy. You see, what is the best results for your money? And I mean, you told already the malaria project, prevention. That's cheap. I mean, that is profitable. That works, and we can do that on different fields. We have in Holland a beautiful Institute of the Water and Sanitation Engineers. We promote with Rotary scholarships, for instance. And as already said, your malaria project also, that it is on a broader scale, then you have that quality also. So go for impact. But on the other hand, it is up to us Rotarians how we use our tool, isn't it? it is not top down. We are a worldwide organization and locally organized, and we can decide ourselves by connecting over the world what kind of project we will do.
Thank you. I have a, okay, there are many questions related to the possible participation. I think they have been answered, most of them, regarding the relationship.
Sergio, I see a question on the peace centers. How were the peace centers affected by COVID? I must tell you that the peace centers are affected to the extent, like any one of your universities, there is almost zero physical education going on. All of them are on virtual learning at the moment. But there's the enthusiasm continues to be high up. The applications coming in are the same, but at the moment it's all virtual. And we are trying to renegotiate the fees so that we don't have to pay so much for virtual education.
Thank you. Actually, that question was made by one of the panelists who is present on the in the screen. So I don't have any more questions. Mara doesn't have any more questions on the questions and answers feature. So I would like to open up now the possibility for the panelists to raising their hands, or using the raise the hand feature in the Zoom application, so that we can. I know that there were some of the panelists that wanted to pose some questions. So please, this is your chance to do so now. We have Luis Miguel Duarte raising his hand. Luis Miguel.
Hello. Good morning again. Just to give an input about what was said about the new rules in force for the global grants and the effort that the Rotary Foundation keeps making in order to help these funds. But as it was said, we are victims of our own success. So the annual fund does not take more grants than it can subsidize. But there's a solution for that, and it's quite easy. It's for us to raise more money for the annual fund. Everything can be back as it was in the past. So if we put our efforts in raising funds for our foundation, we can put in track again the rules that were before. Our foundation is quite different than the other ones. Usually, when you give something for a foundation, you don't expect anything back to have any sort of premium of what you give. But our foundation does exactly the opposite. When you give, you know it returns. So we need to give more for the foundation to return more. So I would like the clubs and the districts to engage their donations and raise their donations to the annual fund, and then can help, of course, the clubs in their grants to have again the percentage of subsidizing 100%. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you, Luis Miguel. Luis Miguel is the major donors advisor, coordinator for our 5 districts, Spain and Portugal. I don't know if Ravi or one of the presenters would like to make some comments on that. Per, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. It was music in my ears, Luis, and thank you for that. I just want to make a little picture out of this. You simply have to feed the cow before you can milk it. So put more funds into the annual fund and we can give more out for grants. Thank you.
Thank you, Per. I know from discussions we were having yesterday that past director Eduardo and past trustee Julio wanted to say something as well, had some comments. Now it's your chance to do so. Please.
Well, if you wish, I can say something. That worries me is about the permanent fund.
I think that we investigate the $2,025 million. We are far away from this goal. So I believe that the Rotary Foundation staff should do something, and trustees should then to increase the donations to the permanent fund, because if not, this goal we will never reach.
Anyone would like to comment on that?
Julio, as you know, we do have a goal, and we are not uncomfortable with our position at the moment. I don't have the exact figure, but I think in terms of expectancies and receivables, we are already more than 50% there. We exceeded 50%. So we think that if there's a delay, it's only because the expectancies, as you know, comes after your lifetime when people write it in wills. And I believe that we will reach that figure, maybe a year or two late, but we will get there. And I think we're on the right track. I mean, for example, this year, if we reach $410 million, that would have been great. And I believe, in spite of all these problems, we will hit that number. So have faith, we'll get there.
Thank you. Eduardo?
Yeah, no, only to say en español, Ravi, en español, para que mejores tu español, que es importante. Ha estado todo muy claro y creo que es el... I say in Spanish, do you understand me? No, I say in English. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
I can
for
hear
the
you.
conference, Ravi. And I think that this is the moment to support our foundation. And you can be sure.
I can't hear him. Is he speaking in Spanish or English?
I speak in English, Spanish.
In Spanish, right? Then I'm.
No. I speak in English. Do you
Okay.
Do you listen me?
Okay.
No, I
Very low, Eduardo.
No, I have a problem with the speaker, Sergio.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, only to say that it's important to support our foundation. And you can be sure that in Spain and Portugal, Iberia, all the clubs and all the Rotarians are making a very good job to support and to increase the funds to the foundation for the future. No more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. So are there any more questions, any more comments at this moment? If not, we will move on to the next section of this webinar, which is a brief report on the Rotary Foundation status in Spain and Portugal. This presentation in PowerPoint is going to be made by Assistant Coordinator Mara Duarte for all the 5 districts in Spain and Portugal. So Mara, can you please go ahead?
Estás sem som, Mara. Estás sem som.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Roberto. I am pleased to share with everyone a brief summary of the contributions from the 2 districts of Portugal and the 3 districts of Spain. The following data summarizes the contributions of the last 3 years, the forecast of donations until the end of the Rotary year, and I am happy to share the top 5 clubs, the most donation to the annual and polio funds during this Rotary year. One moment, I have okay. So let's start with the 1960 district of Portugal. This district demonstrates a growth and constant donations for the annual fund and for polio fund. There was an increase in the value of the other funds due to approximately $33,000 of the existing balance of the local committee of the Lisbon International Convention were donated to the endowment fund on behalf of the district. In the past 3 years, approximately $297,805 were donated to our Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, by the end of the Rotary year, the district aims to reach $50,000 for the annual fund and $30,000 for polio. Finally, I share the top 5 clubs, the most donation to the annual and polio funds during this Rotary year at the moment. The 1970 district of Portugal demonstrates consistent contributions to the annual and polio funds, but there is a decrease in the amount donated to the annual fund, which has a good forecast of increase until the end of the Rotary year. There was an increase in the value of the other funds due to an approximately $33,000 for the existing balance of the local committee of the Lisbon International Convention, because it was donated to endowment fund on behalf of the district. In the past 3 years, approximately $218,526 were donated to Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, by the end of the Rotary year, the district aims to reach $50,000 for the annual fund and $10,000 for polio. I'm so glad to share the top 5 clubs to the most donation to the annual and polio funds in this year.
Can you the image is not big enough. Some people are saying that I don't know if you can use the complete.
Okay. Much better?
Because
or not?
There's now. Okay.
Mara, you are in presenter's mode.
Ah, okay. One moment, please. Sorry. Okay. It's okay or not?
Now make it enlarged.
Much better?
Now it's fine. Yes,
Now it's
that's
okay.
fine.
Now it's okay. Yes.
Okay. One moment, please, because I have a difficulty. Because I have 2 monitors. One moment. Okay. It's okay?
Está melhor, está melhor.
Yes.
Okay?
Now.
Estás com uma apresentação do
Use
PowerPoint,
the
mas tem que ser em grande.
I will try again. It's very difficult to...
Mara Soyana.
Ahora sí? ¿Sí?
Yes, no, it's okay.
It's okay?
Okay.
It's very difficult.
ótimo.
District 1970, yes? Okay.
Okay.
In the past 3 years, return approximately to this district donated $218,526 for our Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, this district, by the end of the Rotary year, the district aims to reach $50,000 for annual funds and $10,000 for polio. Finally, I'm so glad to share the top 5 clubs, the most donation to the annual fund, to the annual and polio funds during this Rotary year. I will now start the presentation of data for the districts of Spain, and I will start with the district 2201. This district has a decrease in contributions to the annual and polio funds, but has shown consistency in the last 2 years. Nonetheless, it has a forecast of increasing until the end of the Rotary year. In the past 3 years, approximately $277,386 have been donated to our Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, by the end of the Rotary year, the district aims to reach $50,000 to annual funds and $25,000 for polio. Finally, I'm so glad to share the top 5 Rotary clubs, the most donation to the annual fund and polio fund, and during this Rotary year. District 2202 has a decrease in contributions to the annual funds and polio funds over the past 2 years, but has a forecast for an increase by the end of the Rotary year. In the past 3 years, approximately $385,435 and $300 were donated to the Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, by the end of the Rotary year, the district aims to reach $72,000 for the annual funds and $60,000 for polio. Finally, I share the top 5 clubs, the most donation to the annual and polio funds during this Rotary year. Finally, the last one district in Spain, District 2203, has a decrease in contributions to the annual and polio funds over the past 2 years, but has a forecast of an increase by the end of the Rotary year. In the past 3 years, about $496,335 were donated to our Rotary Foundation. In terms of forecasting, by the end of the Rotary year, the district intends to reach $78,720 for the annual funds and $36,315 for the polio fund. Finally, I'm so glad to share the top 5 clubs, the most donation to the annual fund and polio fund. Finally, in the last 3 years, the Rotary districts in Portugal have contributed with $562,686 to our Rotary Foundation. By the end of this Rotary year, the estimated donation to our foundation is $239,819. Finally, in the last 3 years, the Rotary districts in Spain have contributed with $1,159,156 to our foundation. by the end of this Rotary year, the estimated donation to the Rotary Foundation is $286,035. Thank you for your attention and patience.
Thank you very much, Mara, for this presentation. If anyone, district governors or the district governors would like to make an additional comment on the issue of this presentation regarding their districts, any additional comments or questions? If not, no comments, no questions. So everybody is in agreement. Thank you, Mara, again. So it was a pleasure to be here today in this special session, and really we appreciate the effort that has been done, very especially by Ravi, by all the presenters, Gianlucas, Per, and all the participants, and words of appreciation also to the translators, to the interpreters, because they are doing it from distances and timings which are completely different. Also, in the case of our president Ravi, he's should be right now. I don't know. I think it's 5 hours later than our time here. So thank you very much, Ravi. I think Ana Martin has raised her hand. She wants to make a comment. Ana?
Yeah, it's more a question than a comment. I would like to know if we could be more creative or, well, the Rotarians, we are really creative, but more creative in the way of collecting money for the Rotary Foundation. It means that now, in my impression, almost all the money that we collect for the Rotary Foundation came from the Rotarians, at least in my district. Then today there are modern ways to collect money. Maybe we could think about this. We could all together. I mean, how to be able to address or to present the Rotary Foundation to non-Rotarians, companies, or GoFunding, Rotary Foundation fundraising events, but only where the money that we collect goes directly to the Rotary Foundation. I don't know. Maybe to change our mentality that the Rotarians give money to Rotary, only Rotarians. I don't know what you think.
Thank you, Ana. If anyone would like to comment. Otherwise, thank you, Ana. Then I would appreciate now if all the presenters would we move to the words of closure. Would like to summarize or to say their final comments on this session. First of all, Thea Hoyen, please.
Thank you very much, Sergio, and thank you very much for have spent time setting up this webinar. Somebody is on the line, I can hear. Well,
Luis Miguel, ¿puedes cerrar tu micrófono, por favor?
Well, it has been a pleasure being with you this morning, and I really appreciate the efforts you have put into it, and it just tells me that there still is a lot we can do in Europe to improve our contributions to the annual fund. And I think the time we are in with the COVID challenges we all have, the new tool Zoom, as we are getting used to use every day more or less, is now a very good way that you can reach every club in your districts. And I really would like to encourage you to set up meetings to tell about the Rotary Foundation, what all the nice things we're doing, and what we need every single Rotarian to do. I wish you all the best, stay healthy, and continue your good work. for the Rotary Foundation. Thank you so much from Denmark.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Gianluca Skett.
I have actually nothing to add to this. I'm rather short in my speeches, so well, I can talk a lot, but in my speeches I will keep it short. I enjoyed it very much, and it was an honor to host you in this seminar. As you have seen, I put some attendees on the panel list to allow them to participate more, and we have at the moment 146 attendees. Well, that's quite a success for you, Sergio. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gianlucas. Ravi, would you like to stress your words or summaries, please?
Having listened to Jan Lucas, it was also a hint to me saying I'm speaking too much, too long. Just to thank all of you, it was a great pleasure to interact with you, Sergio. I only meet you at these conventions. I mean, you've done a marvelous job. Thank you so much. Great leadership. It's nice to see my old friends Eduardo and Julio here. Thank you, Jan Lucas, for the leadership that you're providing in this part of the world. I want to tell you that in terms of giving to the foundation, very often the richest countries don't give the most. I mean, the United States is an exception. They are the biggest supporters of the foundation. I think about 60% of the money that we raise comes from the United States. And then you have India, Taiwan, Korea, Japan. As you can see, it's our part of the world which is bigger contributors to the foundation, although we form, shall I say, in terms of prosperity, I would say we are nowhere near Europe. So I think Europe can do better than what it is doing now. I know Pierre is trying very hard. It's something that you have to challenge yourself. You have to challenge yourself, saying that are we matching up with the rest of the world? And if not, why is it? I mean, one reason I hear from Scandinavia always is the taxes and the fact that the government takes care of everything, and therefore, what can Rotarians do? But these are challenges that you have to deal with, as we have dealt with our own challenges, our own, idiosyncrasies. We have found ways where we can still persuade people to part with their money. So I leave those challenges to you. I think there's lots more we can do. I know that the changes in the foundation will affect people, but surprisingly, I must tell you that, I mean, let me conclude by saying that we expected much more serious objections to changes we made, and I'm quite surprised to how muted they are. When you make change, this is natural. People will not understand. The world generally hates change. But yet it's only the change that has brought us progress. But I want to repeat again that the challenges we have now actually arose out of our success. It's not because we misuse the money. It's not because we don't want to give out the money. It's just that we are so successful with our global grants that we are facing these challenges. So if I compare this situation to problems in business, I would say that I'd rather have challenges because my company has too much business than challenges because we were not able to secure enough business. And we are in the first category. We have too much business at the moment, and we have to find ways of raising the money to do this business. One of India's great and popular presidents, Abdul Kalam, who is fantastic. He was a poor man who came up totally incorruptible, hugely famous, said humans need their difficulties because they are necessary to enjoy success. So we also have these little difficulties, but it's the difficulties which makes us understand how successful that we are. So go out there, continue to give it your best shot. As long as we have people as I see on the screen, I think we will emerge the victor, and all our stakeholders at every level will be better for it. Good luck and God bless you.
Thank you very much, President Ravi, for your encouraging words. I have to say I'm reading through the words in the chat. People are very satisfied about this meeting. I apologize, or we apologize for not having been able to hold all the participants that wanted to be here. We have received messages of many more people that wanted to participate, but due to system limitations, they were not able to get in. I have to inform them that this session has been recorded, so it will be provided in a few hours. We will send it out to the 5 districts and to the panelists, so they can share the information with all the people they want, because as I said, many more people wanted to participate and they were not able to do so. Finally, we are going to leave, and I'm just going to say goodbye as well, and thanks everybody. I will leave the mic. We will leave the microphones.
Goodbye, Sergio. You owe me something now.
Yes.
Next time I come there, I expect you to give me the best bottle of Spanish wine, red wine.
Absolutely. We have no problem with that. And my district governor, Paco, who is around there, he's an expert in from the Rioja region. I'm sure he will host us to the best wineries in Spain.
I look forward to that, and we will invite Per and Jan Lucas also for that meeting.
Absolutely. We take your word as well, Ravi, for that. We take you once this pandemic is over. We look forward to receiving you here. We know you wanted to be coming to Spain and Portugal, so we all know that, and we will be delighted if you could join us. Yeah, in the near future.
Righto. Goodbye, friends. Take care. Bye.
Bye. I'm leaving the microphones open. Huh?
Placer estar con vosotros. Un abrazo a todos. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Muito
Un
obrigada.
saludo para todos.
Um abraço a todos.
Have a nice weekend.
Adiós.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Bom dia a todos.
Gracias a los
Bom dia a todos também, igualmente. Bom dia.
Bye bye, saludo a todos. Muy buenas. Que paséis bien.
Gracias, Víctor.
Muchas gracias a todos. Muy
Bom dia,
interesante.
obrigado. Fiquem bem. Saludo.
Saludos a todos. Adiós.
Hasta luego. Adiós.
Un abrazo para
Gracias a
todos.
todos.
Paco, ya sabes lo que tienes que hacer.
Trabajar.
Sí, yo, para mí. Es un orgullo, ¿eh?
Has escuchado el mensaje que nos han transmitido, ¿no?
Un orgullo y encima, pues siendo un producto...
Digo, Sergio y Paco, ¿por qué no hacemos un vino, una especie de muestreo de los mejores vinos de España? Porque igual hay por ahí alguna denominación de origen que también está muy buena.
De Portugal.
Eu penso que Portugal pode dizer alguma coisa sobre isso.
Ribera
Temos
del
os melhores vinhos do mundo.
Vinos muy buenos.
Están buenos.
Bueno, pues hacemos selección.
Sí.
Adiós a
Hacemos
todos.
selección. Abrazos.
Hacemos uma cata.
Gianluca, you will be sending the
video,
right? The recording when you.
Yes, it said be recorded into work, and I sent the link to you, so you can. Well, shall I take something out of it? No, well, I can just, if the link is ready, it is on my Zoom account, and I share it with you. Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the technical issues.
No, that's no problem, Mara. No problem, bro. No problem.
Well, I'm really sorry that I had the idea that they have 500 participants, but it's only 100. But I skipped attendees to the panelists, so I hope that will help. And in the meantime, I popped up the but it doesn't work.
Well, we'll share it.
I think the experience was very good. Eh? The experience was very good, and we will send the video to all the people that are interested, and maybe we can do it again. We can do it again, and we can try it out before the end of the year. We can try something else.
Yeah.
with more participants. Yeah.
Sergio, in Spain and Portugal, you can have projects funded by the Rotary Foundation nearby, you see, because you have different districts on separate borders, you see. So you can really work together when you put Spain and Portugal together in things, and then from 2, 3 districts, 4 districts even put the DDF in, you see.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All these opportunities you have, yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, Gianlucas, you were the one that let's say presented this objective, this goal. We should work out in the 5 districts. We should work out common projects in order to use this capacity that we the 2 countries, and we can do it very easily. So this is something we're working on. We're working on that.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Nice weekend.
Good to see you.
Un abrazo a todos y hasta la próxima. Hasta la próxima.
Adiós.
Adios, goodbye.
Bye.
Ingrid.
Adios, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ricardo, see you.
The link for the YouTube, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again for the interpreters. It's very important what you did. Well, I ended